Hiya, and welcome back to Password, the game that teaches us that... the yin is consistent. I don't even know. See, that's the fucked up part. I'm not on Wi-Fi. I'm on Ethernet, which is faster. My eyes adjusted to the massive brown fur that I was using as a pillow, and I remembered where I was. Dean seemed to still be asleep as I cuddled against his chest. I thought that was reinforced immediately from how loudly he snored and seemingly woke himself up with. His arm flexed, face scrunched up into a grimace before his eyes slowly opened. Huh? Morning, Dean. He looked down to me, still in a daze before he realized what was happening, and we got a break for the ad. Want a break from the ads? Yeah, there were issues with stream. There were issues with getting stream set up tonight. Oh, good morning. Did you sleep well? I slept, yeah, but not well. Did something happen? No, just some strange dreams, that's all. He yawned wide and unrestrained, his arm around me rubbing my shoulder and back. Is strange bad? Just confusing. I'll figure out what they mean later. Sitting up, I rubbed my eyes and looked about Dean's room. The few plaid shirts littering the floor made me smile as he sat up to join me, hand on my waist. Sure you don't want to talk about them? I guess it's more not knowing how to start talking about them. Like, have you ever had dreams that you were so real you swore you were awake? Oh yeah, I've heard of those. Lucid dreams. So it was kind of like that, just about the vacation maybe? It just felt so real. Dean leaned over and kissed me sweetly on the cheek, rolling over to check his phone. Anything bad? Not really, just strange is all. Well, how are you feeling? Did you want to sleep in some more or get up? Could go either way given the time. I doubt everyone's going to be up at this point. Placing a hand on his chest, I found my hand trailing his front, contemplating the options. Or if not sleep, we could stay in bed and do other things. I could feel his hands on me again, just touching, but everything was kept above the belt. I think I'm still tender from last night. It was great, but I might need to recover. That's what you get for being too eager. I did say we could just go slow. Yeah, well, I was excited. He hugged me close and I hugged him back as he rested his chin atop my head. Once you're walking right, you let me know and we can go again. No rush. We've got all the time in this world. If I'm being honest, part of me was worried that I couldn't keep up. Our situation's not helping much either. Don't really have the freedom to fully experiment until we're back home. But all that stuff is just nice. It's not the be-all and end-all for a relationship, including ours. Okay, yeah. So what's it gonna be? Sleep or get up? I think I've had enough sleep, but what I could really go for is a cup of coffee and some breakfast. Well, come on then. We threw on some clothes and made our way down. Dean leading the way with a happy stride in his step. I followed close behind as we descended the stairs, feeling lighter and legitimately happier as we made our way into the dining room. I'm going to assume that that's lyrics, Amethyst. I'm going to assume that that's lyrics. Ah, shit. The fuck off Windows. It was accompanied with a slow wink as he brought me a piece of toast slathered with honey up to his mouth, and chuckled as I almost missed my mouth with my next sip of coffee. Fucking right. The gays are being great even with danger just outside. They are. We love the gays. Okay, Toes. We get it, Toes. You're being a piece of shit. Fucking Toes. Shut up, Toes. Yeah, shut up, Toes. You and your toes. No one gives a shit about your toes, Toes. I guess being told to... I guess telling someone to suck your big toe is another way of telling them to... telling someone to shut the fuck up. Hang on, let me fact check that. Also, there's also a possibility that we might be done with Dean's route tonight. That possibility is real. I'm gonna fact check that real quick. Oh, there we go, I found it. I found it. You know what? Let me, just for you, just so you don't complain too much about it. I can't believe I'm doing this because I'm changing it back immediately. I'm switching to dark mode. Just for this. Let me turn on the... Find the thing. Video capture. There we go. Right here. Let me just adjust this. Yes. I turned on dark mode. Just so you can't get mad at me for it not being visible. Right there. Suck my toe. Urban Dictionary. Suck my toe is like saying fuck you, but the more clean version. Alright, I'm going back to light mode. Get mad if you want. I don't care. I use light mode. Except Streamlabs released a GUI update a while ago. A few weeks ago. That killed my ability to see my audio levels in light mode. So I had to switch back to dark mode in Streamlabs just so I can see my audio levels, because they killed that ability in GUI. Streamlabs people, if you hear this message, if you see this message, why did you fuck with the light mode GUI? It was good the way it was. Do you remember when we were foraging for mushrooms and he asked me something that I felt wasn't my place to say? Yeah. I've known since then. He confided in me that long ago what was happening and made me promise to look out for you in case Tyson did anything, or if you were sad that I'd at least keep an eye out. You didn't say anything to me. He said not to tell. Besides, it's his news to share anyway. That's true. That would explain why you didn't seem all that surprised at breakfast. But everything else is still in light mode. Thanatos, go suck my toes. Toes, go suck my toes. I don't fucking know anymore.
What up, losers?
Hiya. Thanatos can go suck my toes. My eyes wandered over to Dean, who was calmly rising from his spot with a smile on his face. I have expected him to do the thing where you hit a spoon on your glass to get everyone's attention. Hey everyone, feel now's a good time as any to come out and say this, but last night something wonderful happened. I started chuckling under my breath, made worse when he gave me a wink before continuing. Some of you are already aware, but I figured it'd be best to have everyone in the loop already. Suck my toes is a nice way of saying fuck you. Or go fuck yourself. I looked around the table and immediately found everyone staring at me, a mix between bored, expectant, and knowing. Dave and I had dinner last night, and we're now going steady. I flashed my friends a toothy smile, unsure of what their reaction was going to be given the mix of expressions I was getting. They turned to one another, almost having a silent conversation with one another before all at once looked to Dean. Finally! Dean looked like he'd been slapped across the face, blinking a few times before looking at everyone at the table. Well, I'd like to also take the chance to congratulate the happy new couple, and also claim my fair share of credit for putting on a brilliant night if I do say so myself. Yeah, well, just remember to take care of him, or we're going to have problems. Let them have this. It's a miracle that they got to this point as it is. Wow, that's kind of mean. Oh, I meant more than everything. Consider the odds we're looking like you two would never make it a fifthel. Well, that's disheartening. We would have gotten there eventually. Right. I'm surprised literally no one else tried to make a move on you in the time it took for you two to work it out. I looked around the table and everyone's attention seemed to be elsewhere, presumably not wanting to be involved in the conversation now that Orlando had taken it over. So, what happens now? You're the gay shit in front of us now and we just have to put up with it? We don't have to, it's going to make people feel uncomfortable, but I am going to exercise my right to go to my boyfriend when I feel like it. Like, kisses and whatever? Yeah. So long as it's limited to that, I don't think we'd have any problems. By working on you two fucking in some random room, there's going to be issues. I promise to behave, can't say the same for Dave, though. Hey! I can behave. Good to know. Because I'm not sure if I can. I'm with Tython. I don't want to walk in on it either. Sal stood next, scratching his chin. This might make guys night a bit problematic.
Why? You're all guys, so that should be fine.
I think you're missing the point, Roswell. I'm more interested in when guys' night was a thing. This is what Dean and I do every week as a bonding activity. Oh yeah? What's involved? We go bowling.
Oh, how fun.
I have a potential solution, but we'll see. What's the solution? I start inviting Tyson. Why Tyson? He does. Dean, could we have a little chat later? I looked across to Tiny, he seemed just as confused, shrugging when he saw me looking at him. You already have an anime club. If Dean is spending time with his boyfriend, I feel Tyson would now like the company. What am I, chopped liver?
Presumably you'd be hanging out with Orlando, right?
Well, yeah, I guess. I looked over to Orlando, who seemed to be struggling at keeping up with the conversation, but knew that he shouldn't be offended. Dean, meanwhile, was watching me with a warm smile on his face, gesturing towards the door with a motion of his head. We can figure all of this out later. For the time being, I think it's a good thing overall. Something nice to break up what's been happening as of late.
It's not a wedding, but I'll take it.
Sure, could always do with nice things. Just don't let it go to your head, Dean. We still need to get off this mountain. I could tell that he wasn't paying attention completely. All Sal's comment got was a roll of the eyes with the smile never leaving his face. Instead, he got up and gestured for me to follow, making his way to the door. I'm going to go turn in for the night. Thanks again for dinner, guys. There he goes. Just watch. Dave will be joining him soon. Is that alright? May I be excused?
I don't think anyone's going to stop you.
Is this what they mean by honeymoon period? Seems like it. Go on, Dave. I'll clear your plate this time. Thanks, Sal. I love Sal smiles. I could hear Tyson scolding Sal for spoiling me, but I continued on, looking around for Dean. Was beginning to think you weren't going to follow. I'm not used to just leaving the table like that, and like, leaving with someone else means stuff too. Like what? Well, you know, bed stuff. Got a Tyson, that's all you can think about. What about the other stuff? Like, what? Like just sitting and talking, cuddling up, and passing the time. Doesn't always need to be sexual. I know, I'm just looking forward to next time already. Sorta. Reckon you can handle it again? Thought things might still be tender. Well, Instinctively, my tail curled itself close to me, remembering the night before, the feelings, the adrenaline rush, and then the new kind of soreness that followed. I'm going to go upstairs and take a shower, then I'm going to lay on my bed in my underwear until it's time for sleep. Would you like to join your bear friend for some quality cuddling? Bear friend? Don't you mean boyfriend? Do I? Does that mean the answer is a no? No! I mean, yes, just... Upstairs time. I took Dean by the hand as I rushed past, trying my best to drag him up the stairs with me, but for the most part, he let himself be led along. It was right to Dean's room, where, once we were inside, I found myself being picked up, thrown over his shoulder, and him gently closing the door behind us with his foot. Hey! He laughed, wandering over to the bed and half throwing, half placing me down on it, so I bounced. I'm going to go have a shower. Make yourself comfortable. I shouldn't be too long. Did you want company? Did you want to join me? Want? Kinda, a little. Should? Probably not. Let's make it a plan for tomorrow night then, assuming you're all healed up. Sal, I'll clear Dave's plate, but you can come with. I need to talk about something too. Oh shit. He's a little confused, but he got the spirit. He does. Oh, okay. I won't be long. You're welcome to have one after I'm done, too. Be right back. With another wave, he disappeared into the bathroom while I waited in the small impression I'd made upon my landing on his bed. Looking around the room, I could still see that he'd not bothered to put away any of his identical plaid shirts that seemed to dot the place, marking him almost as messy as Ty was. Not that I wasn't used to it. It was why, without even thinking about it, and I started building things up and giving each piece a quick sniff to decide if it was dirty or clean, and condensing what was many piles into just two. What are you doing? Just organizing. He looked between me and the underwear in my hands, raising an eyebrow. I promise, it was just a little messy is all. Well, thanks for cleaning it up. You didn't have to, you know. Sure, but I had to do something while I waited, or I guess I assumed I shouldn't make myself useful. Don't go thinking you need to be useful. At least now. You're doing great as you are. By doing nothing? Remember, we're on vacation, aren't we? That's true, yeah. Now, why don't you go have a shower and join me in bed when you're done? I'm going to read a book while I wait to get tired. My shower was about as quick as Dean's, and by the time I got out, Dean was sitting there reading his book. There was no talking, really. He just wrapped an arm around me while I cuddled into his chest and found myself getting drowsy sooner than I thought I would. And then I was asleep, cradled in the warmth of my boyfriend. Cracking back. Cracked back feel good. The heavy arm around me pinned me in place to Dean's front. I struggled with the prospect of either getting up to get coffee or staying comfortable with my boyfriend. Another growl from my stomach made my mind up, and I gingerly moved Dean's arm so I could slip free. The moment I wasn't against him, though, he reached out to grab something to replace me, and I slipped my pillow into his arms. There was a moment where I thought that he might wake up, but the dopey smile on his face as he cuddled into the pillow told me he was still thoroughly asleep. No, because, I cracked my back, and it felt awesome. It felt amazing. Leaning over, I kissed him lightly on the cheek before I got out of bed proper. Yin want the cough pussy now. Okay, toes. Wait, are we going to go to the kitchen group or the museum group? Oh shit. Hiya. Welcome. What? To the kitchen. Oh. I nodded slowly, not really liking the idea.
It's time to drink water. It's time to drink water. It's time to drink water. It's time to drink water.
The temptation to redo the sprites of my character. I nodded slowly, not really liking the idea of my boyfriend heading out there by himself, but if anyone could do it, it'd be him. Aw shit, we're gonna have to choose between these two sillies next. Which silly? Gotta just go ahead and plan shit out. Which silly? No, we need to figure out which route we're doing next. That's all we need to do. We need to figure out which route we're doing next, which in this case, I guess, like... We got one for Haas and one for... Well, I'll just set up a poll, assuming we finish Dean's route tonight, which we probably will. Like, there's an extremely high likelihood that we will. As I stretched, I realized I was leaning against something warm and pillowy, when I groaned a familiar voice gasp in surprise. You're awake! Dean, where am I? He looked me over, seemingly ignoring my question. He checked my eyes, a frown forming on his face as he seemed to touch everywhere except my nose. Dean, you're in my room. Our room. I brought you up here after Thanatos told me where you were. Oh, yeah, okay. I groaned as I sat up, and Dean held his hand on the middle of my back for support. How do I look, by the way? Even with the amount of blood on your face, like one handsome hyena if my opinion is worth anything. He continued to rub my back, nodding slowly. But you'll feel better after a shower and something to eat. What time is it? Not as late as you think it is, but you did miss dinner. Oh, so I must have been downstairs for a fair bit, huh? You've been upstairs for a while, too. Thanatos said you'd be fine, though I didn't trust him watching over you while you were collapsing on the cold floor. He leaned over and kissed me on the cheek, rolling off the bed to wander around to the other side to help me up, too. You'd kiss me, even covered in blood? It's only your own blood, and there's not that much, really. But it's enough you should get a shower in so you can at least, you know. As he turned away, I grabbed him quickly by the arm, frowning. When I was unconscious, I had a vault thing. Someone's going to die again? No, not that, just... I saw you, and you were there, and you had a gun, and, Hey now, slow down. What happened? I was injured. Stabbed, maybe? Bleeding pretty bad, but I was running away from Jack, I think. Last thing I remember was you being there, and you had a gun, but then I passed out after that. These sound very involved. He let his arm slip from my grasp, and I felt confused. Not worried or threatened, just confused. Dean placed his hands on my shoulders and looked me over again, unsure. Did you want me to stay? I was going to go get you a sandwich, but I can stay if that's more important. No, it's okay. I'll have a shower. Plus a sandwich will probably will do me some good. Dean didn't budge, instead just sitting there watching me carefully. What? Nothing else on your mind? Okay, I'll check him out. Nothing else on your mind? There's one other thing. Just what's going to happen in a couple of days? It doesn't sit right with me, but all we can do is wait. What did you want to do? Escape would be nice, but we can't. We don't know the way out, or at least one that is an alternative to the main road. Right. Get clean, I'll get you something to eat, and we can talk it out in the morning with the others, after you've gotten some rest. I chuckled, sheepishly hanging my head. I've just been asleep for hours, and I know what my hyena looks like when he's exhausted. Don't worry about it, just recover first, and we'll go from there. Dean was back before I'd gotten in the shower, and I greedily swallowed down the peanut butter sandwich he came back with. All he did was laugh and ushered me into the bathroom the moment I'd finished swallowing and waited for me by the door until I was done. I was clean and I could breathe through my nose normally, but with something in my stomach and the heat from the water taking the aches away, I found myself collapsing into a massive bear the moment I stepped out. In a daze, I was carried and put in bed. Then Dean came to lay down next to me, and as I started to drift off. The last thing I could feel before I drifted off was Dean cuddling me into his side and a gentle kiss placed atop my head. Oh, fuck. Did we accidentally go into the true end? Good morning, handsome. You're up early. I sat up in bed, seeing Dean having just finished putting on his pants. You didn't want to cuddle? Normally I would, but after yesterday I'm a bit worried about... His smile faded as he trailed off, wandering over to the window and looking outside. Yes, I couldn't sleep knowing that they might come back. Even after we were told 2 days. I think that being told that it's 2 days has made it worse. What if it's not 2 days? If it's sooner, we'll be caught off guard. If it's later, then we're going to be constantly wondering when the Mafia is coming back. Oh, okay. What if it is 2 days? Then we were lucky. Dean, are you okay? Really? I just want to be doing more. That's all. I miss being able to freely go and enjoy the greenhouse, or even just looking at the forest from the edge of the yard, or even going in the hot tub. Oh, okay. Dean growled, throwing up his arms briefly. The hot tub, Dave. Hot tub. Well, at least there will be a chance for hot tub soon, right? Once we get off the mountain, we can go somewhere that has one and just, you know. I know it might seem silly, but the hot water's always helped with stress. And I feel like I'm more stressed than ever after meeting Dom, too. Okay. Hot tub. Because he was a bear or because he was in the Mafia? Both. Doesn't help that he's bigger than me and has a gun. What do I have? I'm just a woodsman. Toes cuts his nails with a scythe. Bear and a hot tub. Just a woodsman. I'd say you're more than that. I got out of bed, stretching. For starters, you have me, but I guess you also have Sal, Tyson, the others, plus an axe. Dean grunted, shaking his head before settling his eyes out of the window. I wouldn't worry about it, Dean. If anything goes wrong and we're needing to head into the woods, you have us covered, I'm sure of it. Thanks. Do you feel at least a little better? I really want to go sit in the hot tub, but I do feel a little better, thanks. What are you thinking of doing now, then? Sit outside with a cup of coffee and an axe, probably, just in case. Just in case. Welcome to join me, but I'd rather you stay safe inside. You're worried about me? Of course I am, so I want to keep you safe. I wandered over and gave him a hug, him wrapping his arms around me in kind. Now, let me finish getting dressed so we can head downstairs. Once we made it downstairs, Dean kissed me sweetly on the cheek, and I watched as he wandered out the back, leaving me to head towards the kitchen. Oh, hi, Toes. Waiting. Reason. Reason.
La 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 la.
Reason.
La 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 la.
Not gonna lie, part of me is wanting to see Haas's crying sprite again. Emotional masochism. Kinda wanna have my heart broken with Haas's crying face. I don't know why am I like this? Why am I like this? Don't worry, your boyfriend will be fine. Why am I like this? You rather wouldn't see Haas's crying face? Understandable. Completely understandable. I forgot about that, Redeem! No sadness allowed. What if I'm chronically sad? You can put fireworks in his ass. You can... Oh no! Yup, it looks like we're doing... I don't like the idea of sending my boyfriend out there at all, but he's the one with the most experience. If he's willing to go in, then it's an easy call, right? Magical Girl, Dean, and Dave. Yes! Yes. That is allowed. Twitch. Fireworks in the anal cavity is allowed, apparently. I don't like the idea of leaving my honeybee here while I go off into the woods alone, especially how dangerous things are, but I'll do it. You're sure? Like Haas said, we can figure something out if you don't want to. I'm not sure if I want to or not, but I feel like I need to. Can't be having others put themselves at risk navigating in the dark. Running into the mafia out there. That's a risk even I'm taking. I don't think anyone's really safe from that risk. Sorry, Dean. Been a while since I've been. It sounds like a plan. We'll load up a car and just find a nice little place to rent out for a redo this vacation. Yeah! Oh, hi, bitch. Hi, Toes. Real life version. Sailor Jupiter. Oh no. I need to sit down and watch Sailor Moon. Might watch it tomorrow. I don't know yet. I'd asked Roswell, but at this point I was just hoping for a different answer. After all, that was my boyfriend out there. I was worried. So which one is Sailor Jupiter? Is that the green one? Hiya. On the bird. I don't know which one it is. Also, what's that? I'm gonna click on that. What is that? Saw that on the bird. Ah! Hope it goes well for them. My blood ran cold and my hands started to shake. Dean was in that much trouble. Was I about to lose him? It was one thing to go into a dangerous situation, but it was another to actively hear that he was going to be killed. Reason. What? Time to magical girl. Reason. Remember the flowers? Yeah. Dean is my boyfriend, but even before then, he's a dear friend to me, and everyone else here, so, I want to go. Hi, bitch. Or anything else, I rushed over and hugged him tight. Though it took a moment before Dean hugged me back. He was still shell-shocked from everything suddenly happening, it seemed. Dean spent a lot of the time in the kitchen initially, shoveling what food he could into himself and then promptly passing out with me in his arms after a shower we took together. There was nothing sexual, nothing beyond just getting clean at all, really. But just feeling him up against me made a world of difference, most importantly, safe. Oh god! The letter! At this point, we're just speed running. Speed running. R.I.P. Bacon, you will be missed. For about 15 minutes, I looked across to Dean, who was on his knees next to me, brow slightly furrowed as he made the grass around Dad's grave sit right before moving on to the flowers. Thanks, Dean. Oh, it's no trouble. Can't have this looking messy, can we? A warm smile found its way onto my face as he worked. He seemed to be focused, and once satisfied, sat back with the sign turned to me. What do you think? I think that I owe my boyfriend some affection when we get home. Should I be reading between the lines here? I chuckled, leaning over and kissing him quickly on the nose. Not sure. Maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't. I guess we'll find out when we get home. Dean's expression wasn't what I expected to be when I pulled back, but I noticed he wasn't looking at me. Instead, his attention was drawn behind me, to two people coming our way. Hello? Oswald mumbled, looking between the two of us. Next to him was his sister, Florencia, who we'd met at Roswell's funeral. How are you doing? Doing well. Yourselves? Fine, I guess. Better than bad. Oswald just grunted, keeping his eyes anywhere but us. Were you visiting Roswell? We were, although that wasn't the only reason we came here today. Consider it more convenient that you two are here more than that being the reason we came here specifically. What do you mean? Flora had something she wanted to give you. Did we leave something behind on the mountain? I mean, something more than what we already went back to retrieve? Oh, not at all. Then what? She dug around in her pocket and offered out a medal. The medal glinting lightly in the sun. Dean and I looked at one another, confused, before the medal was jostled in our direction for one of us to take. Thanks. Dean took the medal carefully and turned it over in hand, confused. I just assumed it was important that you have this, if not for now, but some other time. I don't think we're ever going to be in a position to be on that mountain, let alone want to be on that mountain. Oh, you never know. I'd much rather stay at home. That vacation was more than enough for one lifetime. Dean handed the medal to me and I nodded slowly to myself, looking back up at Oswin. She does know that the vault was opened and what was inside was destroyed, right? She does. Then this really doesn't have any use, at least not to us. Then therein lies the trick. It's going to be useful for someone, perhaps you, perhaps to someone else. But that's not for us to know. I don't understand. That's alright, someone will. Someday. A question, Flora.
Yes.
Is there a reason why you only handed over this one? I do recall you having a second one to hand over.
Careful, dear brother.
That's not for today. Then when?
Some other time, perhaps, but not today. Maybe not even in this lifetime.
I don't mean to upset anyone by saying this, but this whole game with the medals and everything was worth it. You're still playing whatever game it was you set us on when we're already done.
Someone has to.
Well, please leave us out of it.
Oh?
I just want to live my peaceful life happy with Dave by my side for as long as we can make it work. That's all. He put an arm around me and Florencia leaned in, curious, if only until Osmond placed a hand on her shoulder and eased her back. Respectable. Which a good note to leave you on, I think.
What? It's time to go already.
Correct. I wish you both the very best. Please take care of yourselves. You too, Oswin. With the nod, he guided his sister away until they were far enough where they continued on without looking back. Dean got up first, helping me to my feet and putting his arm around me protectively. Things are going to be alright. I think. You think so? I know so. Might take a lot more therapy before I'm not seeing the inside of that mail again, but it's something. Yeah. But for now, shall we head home? Mine or yours? You know what? I'm fine with either, so long as it's with you. He leaned down and planted a soft kiss on my cheek before we both turned to Dad's grave. Standing there with Dean, I felt happy. For the first time in a long time, I felt myself reassured that things were going to be alright. And things continued to be alright. Days started to pass into weeks, and then months, each of us finding our own little slice of happiness along the way. It took a while, but eventually Dean and I stopped having the nightmares about the mill. He started asking around for some help with a new venture he'd thought up. If his family were all in on starting businesses, why not open a cafe? Slowly things came together with the two of us running the place, and while the hours were long, getting to spend each day together never got old. The frequent visits from our friends coming in made it all the better. Then one night I just got down on one knee and asked Dean to marry me. Turns out he had the same idea but was waiting until the weekend. It felt nice to make things that level of official. Haas wasn't the only one that got proposed to. Some nice tiger lady that he met online asked him after they'd been seeing each other for a while. Last I heard, they were thinking of starting a family. Sal bounced around for a bit, settling on the local gym, but ended up pushing those of us that were still around to come visit, at least once a week. Much like Sal, Tyson also bounced around. He ended up going on his trip, and while it was hard to see him go, he was back within a month. With it, proudly showing off his new license, one that read Tyson Halloway. Orlando disappeared for a bit but reappeared with good news. He was heading overseas to go to culinary school properly. It was years before we saw him again, but when we did it, it was to open his own bakery back home, just down the road. I never did see Oswin or his sister again. If anyone had told me they'd gone missing, I would have believed them. For everything they put us through, I did sometimes wonder what became of them, or if things could have played out differently. More often than not, I wished things would stay exactly as they were, now that we'd finally found our happiness. Oh shit. Right there. Right there. Dean's route done. Path A
Always
end.
watching.
Okay, come on, Toes. Welcome back. It's good to see you again, though I do not know how long it has actually been. I said the first time we spoke that memory reaches across time and space alike, but do you know how much I need to remember? You know the drill by now. I'm sure you're here for one reason, so let's not waste any time, shall we? Let's see how many signs light up the night sky. Aries. Your memory of this is on Roswell's bedside table, yes? Or rather, Dave's memory of it anyway. This one was tucked away by Thanatos and used as a push towards that breaking point, though to his credit it worked. Taurus. Placed a long time ago by a young girl under a pumpkin, surrounded by its element. It lay in wait patient for its time to be found, by Dave no less. Gemini. Split as a joke, or perhaps a more rigorous test, to see if the adage was indeed correct, that two people could come to understand one another and exist in perfect equilibrium. Cancer. Found completely by happenstance by someone with far too much luck at the time. Though its implications as far as who found this are a bit on the nose, what matters is that it was found. Leo. A long time ago, this was hidden somewhere intended to be found. Not for Dave, but for Roswell, to point him towards the truth by his mother. But as that became less and less likely, or rather because Thanatos missed the truth, things played out differently. Virgo. You would think that it would immediately imply a virginal maiden, and to some extent that is true. Innocent and purity are the more important factors here. Some have equated this with a clean slate, though not one granted after the fact, more starting point. Scorpio. Some consider this to be one of the more evil signs, though we place no stock in that here, given they're all merely signs in the sky, and while the person that gave Dave this particular medal was the root of all his tragedy. Was tragedy? Well, not that it matters anyway. Sagittarius. In one place, this was handed to Dave to mark the point where things ended, and in another as a symbol to look towards the future, a guiding arrow or perhaps a weapon to continue inflicting suffering and death. Aquarius. The sign of unrestrained flow, it will keep going of its own accord like time, regardless of the whims of those around it. Perhaps that's why it found its way in the middle of the maze. Pisces. Like the fish trying to swim upstream, the sign struggles against every bit of joy and pain, hope and fear. But in that is its greatest strength, but its greatest weakness. Perhaps that's why Dean and Dave found it when they did. A moment of emotional vulnerability can go a long way if you're capable. So how many does that make? 10? A shame, really. There's still some missing. Perhaps you've not seen everything there is to see, done all there was to do. But don't worry, we'll meet again, and no doubt it'll be sooner than either of us think. Okay, bitch. That was Dean's route. At this point, we're just speedrunning. Anyways, I don't know which route we're doing next. I'm going to hold a poll in the server, so vote on that if you want, and stay safe. Have a good night, if I can fucking type. And I will see you all tomorrow.